Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the Home Weather Office. It is Thursday morning. It is now the 23rd day of January 2025, and this is the morning briefing coming to you from the Home Weather Office, where it is another bright and sunny, chilly morning, but it's going to be another nice afternoon. And yes, it's another morning where, yes, my face is not ready for prime time. We'll see how things go over the weekend. Maybe Monday or Tuesday I'll show you how I'm doing, but in the meantime, we're just going to press on with the weather for today. California does have another crystal clear morning throughout, and as you can see, any cloud cover from the Pacific is being steered way off to the north, and once again we still have all that cold air back east, but none of that coming to California, and it is going to be another bright and sunny day throughout the area, with valley temperatures warming into the 60s once again, but it will get a little bit cooler over the course of the weekend. More on that here in just a minute. Also want to pay attention to Southern California. Of course, yesterday had another fire breakout called the Hughes Fire. But let's zoom into Southern California, because what I wanted to show you here is that this is the heat temperature, the fire temperature rather, signature. And as you can see, you're not seeing anything. What you should see is this little fire, these fires south of the border. That's what you're looking for areas that are actively burning, and what you're not seeing is that up here for the Hughes fire. So while I'm not saying that fire is out, it's certainly not hot this morning and not burning that intensely. So it does look as though, I think I was hearing that firefighters were able to get a good handle on that. So we'll see how that goes during the course of the day today. And the winds are also diminishing down there. So good news in Southern California, less wind, and it doesn't look as though that fire is very active, at least by way of the satellite. And again, this is a feature on the satellite that you use to find these hot spots like you're seeing south of the border. Let's see if I can switch this over to the... Come on. Oh, this is the band I'm looking for right here. Let's see if it switches over. Yeah, it does. Okay, nice. Sometimes doing these things on the fly, it doesn't work. So you can see the smoke signatures in the fires south of the border, and then you come up to the north, and you're not seeing as much of that. So good news in Southern California. All right, let's go to the weather charts here. Our trusty 500 millibar chart, classic look for January with the ridge here in the west and trough in the eastern 2/3 of the country, bringing more cold air. And yeah, you can just trace that cold air. Man, I was really impressed by just how cold it was. I mean, we talked about the snow, but yesterday morning, there were temperatures down here on the Gulf Coast that were in the single digits. I mean, there were temperatures like 8 or 9 degrees first thing in the morning. And that's not the wind chill or anything. That was the actual temperature. And I saw some pictures from this morning down on the Gulf Coast where that snow is still there. So the cold air is still around. This will all modify and that snow will melt. But yeah, for the Gulf Coast to get 8 inches of snow and for then it to stick around for a couple of days, man, that gives you an idea of just how cold this air is. But for the western states, yeah, we're still dealing with this very dry ridge. Now, things are going to change a little bit over the weekend. This gets us through the next couple of days, but it's this little trough here, dropping down from the north, that will usher in cooler weather for the weekend and perhaps bring us a little bit of Sierra snow, especially on Saturday. Now, this is going to be an interesting case. Let's see, what day are we up to here? This is the 6Z run. This is on Saturday night. So we have the low here, cold air being pulled into Northern California, somewhat breezy, especially in the Sierra. So if you look at the circulation around this low, you have flow coming this direction, and then it goes this direction. So in Northern California, so if you can't read the lines here, so that's the Oregon state line, Lake Tahoe would be right around here, San Francisco would be here, LA down here. So here's where the low is, kind of centered near San Francisco. So to the north of that, you have flow that's coming this way. And then in Southern California, you have flow that's going onshore, offshore, onshore. And the reason I want to point that out is that, and I'll try to call it up here in a minute, is you can get upslope flow, what we usually call the orographic flow, going up the east side of the Sierra. So it's the east side of the Sierra that may get snow, whereas the west side doesn't get anything, perhaps, depending on how the models work out. The low sticks around in early next week. It exits, and then we get back to ridging with a weak system going by that may or may not bring us a brief shower. And then beyond that, we have more broad ridging. Actually, I'm not too disappointed by this pattern. Where are we up to now? We should be into early February. This is the 2nd. So this actually isn't too bad here, because right now we have the big high that's up in here that really blocks anything. Now the high shifting down to the south, that will not only modify the air back east, but also hopefully open the door for us to get back into a stormy pattern sometime as we head into the, I'm still guessing, sometime between the 10th and 14th we may get active. We'll see how that goes. All right, let's take a look at the NAM, because the NAM is into the range now of showing the precipitation chance for the weekend. Now keep in mind, this is just one model, and I'll show you the GFS in a second. It'll look a little different. So this is Friday. Now I had somebody in the comment section yesterday saying, I don't know if it was their app or whatever source they use for their forecast. I think it was in Sonora, saying, well, here it's going to rain Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, this is Friday, and this is the NAM, and there's nothing going on Friday. Saturday, things change a little bit, and once again, look at the 540 thickness line right here, and watch how it just crashes down as we get into Friday night and into Saturday. This is Saturday morning. Light snow around the Tahoe Basin. But again, it's the east side. You notice how there's nothing happening on the west slope, there's nothing happening in the valley, but we are seeing perhaps that upslope flow. So the wind's coming this direction, the air being forced up the east side of the Sierra. So you get snow in Reno, you get snow in Truckee, but maybe you don't see snow much on the west side at all. And this would be very, very light. And that's Saturday around midday. Then as you get down into the day, this is Saturday night, maybe down on the 395 corridor. 395 could be really interesting. You know, Bishop and up toward Bridgeport, and all the way up toward Monitor Pass. All of those areas could be really interesting as we head into Saturday night and Sunday. So keep that in mind for those of you that travel 395. Maybe some snow there to deal with. And maybe rather windy as well. Yeah, that could be kind of nasty. And then comes the rain in Southern California on Sunday, and this will be very, very light. Now, in terms of the total snow, this is the NAM total snow, and it's showing inches, so a couple of inches of snow, so it's very, very light. And then in terms of total rain, now again, this only goes through Sunday, so total rain accumulation, total precip accumulation. I wanted to point out Southern California, we're talking about hundredths, because I saw yesterday headlines about, you know, prepping for landslides and mudslides, and I just don't see enough rain for that. It just, you know, again, this is just the NAM, but I just don't see enough rain for that. To me, this looks more beneficial than anything else. So that's the way the NAM shows it. Let's show the GFS, because this goes out farther in time. But again, keep in mind that the GFS does just not have the resolution to cover something like this. And this is Saturday morning. Tight gradient here, meaning a north wind, and then some snow flurries in the Sierra. And then this is into Saturday afternoon. So this is what I mean by the resolution. You notice how if you look at this literally, this would look like there's snow on the west slope down to 4,000 feet. So that's 21Z on Saturday. Let me do the same thing. Pardon me while I shift around on this. You know, sometimes when I do this and I kind of do it on the fly and it's not very smooth, it reminds me that I'm probably the only person on YouTube that doesn't edit. I just do this and let it fly. All right, so I'll back up to 21Z Saturday. So this gives you a great idea of resolution. So the NAM has pretty good resolution here, and it shows the limited amount of snow. This is the way the GFS depicts that. You notice how it looks much more blobby in nature. And actually, let's go to, I don't know if the NAM nest goes this far out. Yeah, the NAM nest does go. So this is even a higher resolution, showing the same thing, snow up and down the crest of the Sierra and on the east side, where the GFS, with its lower resolution, just shows these blobs of rain. So if you ever look at the GFS, and I don't know if any of you look at these models yourself, always keep in mind that the GFS is going to be overpainted and doesn't have the resolution to give you the difference in, you know, where the rain snow line might be. It's not built for that. It really isn't. But anyway, in the big picture, you can see that we get the rain in Southern California on Saturday night into Sunday. This is Sunday afternoon, and it even actually gets cold in Southern California. They'll see some snow in the mountaintops, but very, very light precipitation. The other thing I wanted to point out is that as that low lifts out, here's that weak system I showed you next Thursday that falls apart. And that's it for January. This is February 1st. So that's our only chance of rain. Now we get into February, and here's those weather systems going by to the north that may finally change the pattern a little bit. But let me show you total precip accumulation from the GFS. And so this is all the way through February 7th. And it shows some nice rain. Now again, this is 2 weeks total of 10 inches of rain up here on the north coast, but a trace of rain around Sacramento, a couple of tenths of an inch of rain in Southern California, and a half an inch of water in the Sierra. So even though the pattern is changing, this still doesn't look all that great through the first part of February. So this is 2 weeks out, and we just don't have anything in the way of significant rain. But we may be seeing something as we head into the weekend with that little bit of snow in the Sierra. I'll have more details on that during the day tomorrow. And I do want to remind you that I do have this event coming up on the 22nd of February, Saturday, February 22nd at the David Girard Vineyards. Looking forward to this. You can see some of my photos. I'll give you some examples of that in a second here. So I do want to be clear here that this, I'll post a link to more information on this, and we'll have more information coming out on this in the next week. But so yes, I'll be talking about my photos, showing photos. You'll be able to buy photos, that sort of thing. But this is the sort of thing that we do require reservations, and that's why you need the link, and you follow the link and you go to David Girard Vineyards, and they're handling all the reservations and all the rest of that. So this is a reservation sort of thing, and I believe it's $20. This is also a thing for their wine club members, so that wine club members do get a discount. So it's not the sort of thing that you just pop by anytime between 2 and 5. Give them a reservation because they want to know how many people are going to show up, that sort of thing. Now, I think somewhere here in my windows, oh yeah, here it is. I put together a little video of some of the pictures that I've got here. I've got all these big prints that I have. Let me get rid of this one too. So yeah, so Yosemite, love Yosemite. Napa, yep. Oh, White Sands, love this one from White Sands. This is from France. Took that one a couple of months ago. Love this spot down in Calaveras County. Kennebunkport, Maine, Ireland, yeah, all sorts of good stuff. That's everything I've got for you this morning. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.